this is Alec and welcome to EmpiHER TV, where every single week we bring you another amazing woman who's building her empire her way. This is the amazing Angela Magana.
Hi guys.
Did I get it right?
Yes,
okay, good.
Magaña.
And her story is like no other empire story I've heard of. So tell everyone a little bit about your backstory.
My backstory begins usually not very. Most people wouldn't. I started fighting. I was born addicted to heroin. My mom was an addict. I lived on the streets with her until about 4 or 5 years old. So it was the life of a junkie on the street with a kid and my sister, 2 kids.
Wow.
So I had to deal with a lot of things that I thought was normal, because a child's first school is family. So I thought like nodding out and needles were normal. I didn't know that, because my mom, she was my hero. She could reach the light switch. She could do everything. So when that's your family's your first school, and that's all I knew. I had no frame of reference of anything else. So I didn't know there was anything wrong with that.
So you've come so far, and yes, fighting is, kind of what your industry is per se, but what got you to say, number one, I'm not gonna be like my mom. I love her, but I'm not gonna be like her?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You gotta kind of not victimize yourself. You gotta be the survivor. My sister actually took the other road. She started to use drugs for a while, then did what my mom did, didn't take care of her kids. She's good now. So I always had this thing inside of me, this button that I can't, like a no quit button, that I just had to keep doing better and keep advancing my position in life. I just had this fire in me that I have to keep going and keep going and keep going. I mean, came into the world fighting, and it just so happens that's my profession.
So how did you get into that? Because that's not normally a very female profession, and it's a very, of course, physical one, and,
Actually, I got into fighting because when I was young, I would see a movie called Bloodsport. I don't know if you remember. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
It was all these people come from all over the world to see whose fighting style is the best. And so it was like all these styles to see who was the best. And you either tapped out pretty much or you would die in the show. So I always saw that, and as a little girl, I was like, I want to fight, I want to do that, I want to be that, and I had that dream, but there was not women's fighting then.
Yeah.
When I started fighting 13 years ago, we really didn't have weight classes. I had this dream of being this fighter, world record. You should see my vision board. I have a vision board, and it shows me with the car that I now drive, the house that I'm now building, the career that I wanted. Like, visualization is huge in manifesting what you want. So I just,
So when you started fighting, you're right, there weren't a lot of female fighters. So what got you in? Did you start with the UFC, or how did you actually start with all of that?
So I was training. I was actually going to college at the same time. I wanted to be a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. And I thought, well, you know what? I only have a short shelf life as a fighter, and I can always go back to school. So I said, screw school for now. I have my associates only. And I was actually a firefighter too at the time, and my EMT basic license. But I said, screw all that. I'm going to try this fighting stuff. And that was 13 years ago, and I actually made a career out of it. It's been my only job for 13 years. Most people, women nowadays, still can't make a career out of it. They have to have another job. Most of us are starving artists, but I found a way. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. If not, an excuse. And I get everything I want in life because I don't make excuses.
I love that. That's like wisdom to every single woman's ear, no matter what their industry is, that you just can't accept the excuses. But I mean, being in an industry that was so new for women, being a female fighter, there's bound to have been massive struggles along the way, let alone with your upbringing. What were some struggles along the way that surprised you when it comes to building your career?
There was a lot of struggles. One of them was being a single mom. Everybody else in the gym, I was the only female. So everybody else in the gym, their kid gets to stay at home with the wife. Me, I'm like having this guilt because I'm in the gym. It's my kid's bedtime. I'm having to put her to sleep in the back room on a mattress while I train, and then pick her up while she's sleeping and take her to the car, or let her stay at my grandparents' house and then go pick her up and haul her out in the middle of the night. So that one was hard, dealing with being a mother, being a single mom, and fighting, because everybody else who had kids, they didn't have to deal with that. They didn't know what it was like because they were all guys who had women at home. Then I had, for a long time, I've had a lot of the guys' wives would be very jealous of me, and it's like, come on, come on, I don't want your boyfriend. Like, that's kind of, you're kind of giving yourself a pat on the back there. But no, so I had a lot of jealousy from the females. They would like not let their boyfriends train with me or husbands train with me. So how else am I going to get better if I can't do that? Another one was, so I wrestle. I'm also on the Puerto Rico national team for wrestling. But growing up wrestling, I was the only girl, and I ended up paying that back and going to coach as a wrestling coach. So I'm with my boys, my junior high boys. They moved to high school, so I moved to high school with them. I got kicked off the wrestling team because I was a woman on the mat. I was going to go to the civil rights, but I decided not to do that. Fight. They said, because I said, what? And they said, we had 3 parents call yesterday, even a man. This is you, Coach Stinson. Even a man call and complain that there's a woman on the mat. I said, why? I said, because it's sexual. I said, well, what about all the little girls, or the other girls, like the girls that want to try to wrestle? Oh, it's different. I was like, well, they're kind of like more developed than me. Like, you want to call? So I was like, so it's sexual because I'm on the mat. So are all these boys homosexuals, or is it just the presence of me that makes it? So like, there's been a lot of different health concerns. I broke my back. I fell 3 stories and shattered my spine. Yeah, and they told me that I wasn't able to even walk for a while. I was able to rehab that. They told me I would never fight again. They told me I needed surgery. But again, my mind, you can't let anybody tell you anything. Like I said, if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. I imagined myself walking. I imagined myself fighting. I actually booked a fight while I was still in a body cast.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, and I'm 5 weeks post neurosurgery right now. 5 weeks ago, I was in a coma, waking out of a coma from a herniated disc surgery that I had a bad reaction to the anesthesia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So clearly an overcomer, as an understatement.
My fiance, I had a fiance who died the day after we got engaged. Yeah. My mom died of a heroin overdose when I was 17.
Wow.
Being a single mom, falling and breaking my back, and then even living through the Hurricane Maria.
Yep, because you're out of Puerto Rico.
That was one of the worst things I've been through, was Hurricane Maria. And the fact of how we were treated as an island, even though we're part of the U.S. That was really heartbreaking. It makes me want to cry. It's horrible. And it's still going on. There's still tons of people without electricity, no roofs, homeless.
Wow. But what you're doing with your career is helping to bring light to all of this, to help lift everyone else up, because you didn't just stop when it comes to the UFC in that fighting. You're now on the Olympic team, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm on the Puerto Rico national team for wrestling, the Olympic team, so I'm trying to qualify for the Olympics. And that's weird because the girl in my weight class is, my daughter's age 17, the one below me. Yeah, I'm 36, so yeah. So that was the thing. So the little bit of coverage and the media that I do have, I use that. So my neighborhood was completely forgotten in the hurricane. I had Dana White from the UFC tell me he would fly me out of there in a helicopter and let me go to Vegas and get ready for my fight, because I had a fight I had to get ready for. And I lived for 3 months without water and electricity. But I didn't go because there's so many people who would have died if I would have left. I was able to sneak in medicine from Panama, insulin from Panama, from Colombia. I was the only one getting water. I was the only one getting food to us. So if I would have left, lots of people would have died. And so and I felt like I moved to Puerto Rico because I love the island. It's so beautiful, the culture, the people, and I'm a very loyal person. So I can't just leave when it goes bad. And I had to stay. And I was able to get on Don Lemon, CNN. I was able to, Montel Williams. I was able to get my word out. So then we were able to get food and we were able to get water.
I love that you're using your platform. Yes, it's technically your industry, but you're using all of the exposure that you get for it to serve others.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
So, but to do that, especially in your industry, it's a physically demanding career you've chosen. How do you take care of yourself?
Fighting is very hard. So is wrestling, because the thing with us compared to any other job or athlete is we have to make weight. So we have to watch ourselves 100% of the time. We go home to what we eat. We go out to eat and they're offering dessert and my mom's like, no, you're fat, Mom, you can't. And they're looking at us like we have eating disorders, but they don't understand. There's that, and then just the physicality, having to rest. Sometimes my daughter wants, the kids want to go do stuff and I'm like, no, Mommy's tired, I gotta rest. Like, my body has to rest. Yeah, and it's mostly training with men, so I have to be more technical. I have to be faster. I have to be better than them, honestly, or I would die in there.
Well, most women who have their businesses, they're not wrestlers, they're not MMA fighters. We push ourselves too far.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yes.
We really do.
Yeah.
You see the physicality of how that comes across, whereas most women who maybe are just sitting behind a desk, like writing their manuscript or being a coach or something, they don't actually see the physical ramifications to not taking time to rest. Can you just, from a health perspective, because you are clearly a specimen of health, share with people, if you don't take care of yourself, what will really happen to them?
So I'm a firm believer in this. You know how many people come to me, I don't have time, I have to work. I'm like, then if you don't have time, well, you should exercise 30 to 45 minutes a day. But if you don't have time, you should exercise for 2 hours, because that means you really need to exercise if your life's that busy. So there's something that I always tell people, oh, you're too busy right now, you're too busy. Okay, well, why are you busy? Working? And that's for money, right? Okay, so you better take all that money and buy your health back when you're older, or be ready to sit in a hospital bed paying a lot of money, and you're not going to be good. So the best investment you can make is in your health. It doesn't matter what money you got. It doesn't matter anything. If you're unhealthy, life is hell. There's nothing you can do. So I'm big on a healthy diet, obviously, and exercise and rest, and just having a healthy lifestyle. Like, yeah, if you don't have time now, then you better have time to pay later for your health. I really, and like one of the things I try to do too is I feel like a lot of people, once they get out of high school, they don't know how to work out because they're not with a group. So I try to promote and showing people how to get fit on their own without having to go to a group class or, doing group things. Most people don't know how to get fit on their own.
I just love that, because I think far too many women especially, we push our health aside, we try to just push through, be more like the guys, quote unquote, and in the end, it actually ends up destroying us, not building us up.
Yeah, well, and I believe women we need more rest than men. We believe we have a lot of stuff, hormones going on. Even as a fighter, they say that women have to have a little bit more time to recover than the men. Yeah, it's just, you only got one body, you've only got one try at this, and you got to do it as healthy as you can. So, yeah, that's like, I'm glad that we covered that, because that's one of my big things that I try to get across to people. You're too busy working, then you better have time to be sick later.
Yeah. Well, I love that you brought up mindset, because seriously, we get in our own ways 9 times out of 10 when it comes to either building our career, building the relationships that we want, having the lives that we want. Tell us maybe something that you do either on a daily or when you get into that negative mindset to get yourself out.
One big thing that I can tell for people about depression or bad moods or whatever, like, what's the one thing that we all have? Our minds, right? And it's free, our imagination. So you got to use your mind. It's totally free. You got to think happy thoughts. You got to go there in the mind, you go there in the body, and you got to, and then the way and breathing. And how do we get our mind and our breathing right? Go for a walk, exercise. I've never known a depressed athlete.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe they were on, maybe not personally, because I don't hang out with depressed people. But most athletes, that's drugs. As soon as we work out, we're pretty much shooting adrenaline into our veins. Like they say, it's stronger than cocaine. So I feel like you feel upset, like I said, you go there in the mind. The mind is the most powerful tool. You're only controlled by your thoughts. It's you. You're only controlled by your own thoughts. So if you just change your brain, change your thinking, then there's no problem.
Now, you mentioned earlier you're a mom, and you're a mom of 3, right?
Yes.
So what do you tell your kids? Because clearly you kind of almost seems like you came out of the womb with the idea of the strong mindset, and I know that's something that a lot of women struggle with, of their self-worth, their value, am I good enough, and all of that, which goes into not having a strong mindset and kind of being influenced by outside sources. So what do you tell your kiddos so that they can learn that same pattern of yours?
I would say, just you don't have to, like me, I'm one of the happiest people alive because I don't care what anybody thinks. That's one of the keys, is you cannot care what anybody thinks, and you gotta have, if you're not a good person, then you're gonna care what people think, because you know deep down inside you're not good. But I know who I am, and I know how good I am, and I know I'm a good person and a good soul. So whatever anybody says outside does not matter, because I know who I am. You can say the worst, most horrible things to me, it doesn't matter, because I know who. You can tell me you're the most beautiful person, it doesn't matter. I know who I am. So that's just me, is to have them most self-assured, to have them to know that who they are and what their value is, so that whatever anybody says, they're immune to it. The whole world can gossip about them and they'll be immune to it. That's what I've taught them, not to give up what anybody thinks.
how did you get that way? Because that is something that especially a lot of people struggle with, especially with social media and haters out there.
So,
what can one person do? What can someone actually do?
Okay, well, when I was on a reality show, they edited it. Some people didn't like me. They made it like the negative parts or whatever. They made it fun to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I had some weird people, men. It was all men. Message me death threats. Tell me I need to kill myself because my daughter needs a better chance at life. Oh yeah, tons of this. Tons of nasty death threat. All kinds of stuff. I had to get the FBI involved. Yeah, nasty. All because of what they think of a character on TV. So, I started to say I'm the queen, I'm your majesty. So I made a game of it. So I call them all my peasants, and that's my fight name is your majesty. So I just made a game out, and I actually want them to hate me because I think I'll literally post something, and if I don't have haters, I'll make my next post where I know they'll hate on me. Because I think it's funny because why does like if you can use it to the right way, it's totally in your advantage to make people hate you because it's hard to love. Like, why do we have the news? It's all fear, doom, gloom. Everybody wants to be fearful. Everybody wants to be mad. Everybody wants to hate something. So I just give them something to hate. Nobody watches Batman because he's a rich white guy who helped a bunch of rich white people, right? It's Joker. They watch it for Joker. So actually, to be the bad person in the side of the media, because the masses are asses, really, and to be the bad person is actually fun. It's good. I do that. I play off the bad girl, honestly, because it is my personality. I have fun with it. But those people who are going to come at me with that hate and talk to me and be that way and threaten my life deserve for me to act like I'm the queen and they're peasants.
I love the game you're making out of it because you're consciously making it out of it versus being forced into what they're trying to force you into. You're like changing it. You're spinning the wheel and you're like, nope, this is the game we're going to be playing now.
Oh, I control the media.
I love that.
I control the media.
And it's totally your choice, right?
Oh, yeah. I want, like, I'll put, okay, I was signed with my new company, Combate Americas today. And then I'll be like, nobody's going to hate that. All right, Combate Americas just signed the hottest fighter to their roster. And then I get all the people hating. You know, like, you gotta have fun with it. Like, they're gonna already hate you. Like, I don't care if they're looking at me to love me or hate me. Most people don't give the love. I just want them looking.
No. I just love that you chose, that no one had to tell you this is like, you're like, I'm gonna choose this for myself and therefore I'm gonna step in it, therefore I'll be it.
Yeah, because it's like, it is me though. I've always been the bad girl or whatever because I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
And that's, and I chose that. I was like, all right, they edited it to me this way. I'm gonna ride this till the wheels fall off.
Well, speaking of that then, what is the next evolution of your career? Where are you kind of hoping to go and grow to?
So I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Oh yes, you do. That is true.
Also, so I just made the national team for Puerto Rico. I'm going to try to qualify for the Olympics in 2020. That's my main goal. Fighting is on the not the back burner. I have a fight contract for a year and a half. They really wanted me. I didn't want the contract, but they really wanted me, and we negotiated. So my main thing is because I want to make it. That's like been a dream since a little girl to like watch the Olympics and see Team USA against Team Canada, you know. So I have that. I also have a gym that I built in Puerto Rico. I built it from the ground up with my bare hands. I have the property paid off. I have the building paid off. I'm very proud of that. And so I built that gym. I want to expand it eventually. I manage and train fighters. I work corners. I work in the boxing ring. I'm the cut man. I do really good too. I keep the swelling down, the bloody nose and the eyes. I do good. I'm a cut man. So like all around fighting, coach, and I'm writing a book, doing a documentary, just all that stuff, you know, and I just, anytime I'm abundant, I share my abundance. I feel like I chose this career and stuff. I've given a lot of encouragement and motivation to people by doing what I love, and I think that's such a gift. So many women will walk up to me after a fight and be so inspired by it, and I'm not even realizing what I'm doing for these women. So yeah, it's just a blessing to be able to live my life and motivate others, and the abundance that I get, I do share. I'm not a rich woman. I don't have a lot of money. The richest woman I know though is, because money goes goes far beyond money. Riches go far beyond far beyond money. So I'm rich in happiness. I'm rich in friendship. Like if I had $5 million, I'd be doing exactly the same thing that I do every day.
Well, and same thing goes with success. Success isn't always how much money is in your bank account. What is the definition of success for you?
Well, see, and I'm glad that you asked that too, because I have not had a good run in my last few fights. I've been fighting the best in the world and with some health problems. But they is being happy, is waking. So for me, a lot of people, haters, oh, you haven't won a fight in this long, you haven't done that, and it's like, that's just one night. You don't see the build-up before that. You don't see the build-up after that. You know, success for me is happiness, is being happy. Honestly, that's all success is for me. And I'm the happiest woman and the most successful woman in the world.
I love that. I love how you're building your empire, especially in an industry that wasn't even meant originally for females. You're owning it completely. And if you weren't inspired by that story to realize that yes, you can go out there and build your empire any which way you want to, it is all in your mind, you better go follow her on every single social media platform out there, because she will inspire you every single day and remind you that you can build your empire your way. We'll see you guys next time.